Yo, what's up, bitches? I'm back. I just wanted to say that it's been a while since I have done anything at all content related, so it's it's good to be back. And for those of you who don't know what I was going through, and actually, let's just go ahead and do the usual spiel that we usually do when we come here on Decked Up. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii content creator and podcaster, streamer, business aficionado, and all that good stuff in between. But anyways, I'm back with Hawaii's #1 tech gaming podcast, Decked Up. And yeah, for those who don't know, I've been gone roughly about a week. And if I really want to dive into it further, I could say more like a week and a half. And mainly because I have been fighting off illness. Like I'm even right now, I'm not fully 100% recovered. But for those who don't know what I was going through, I initially started off having pneumonia, and then I went from having pneumonia to having the flu, and from the flu to cold, from that to the upper respiratory infection, and to a bronchial infection, all that in between. And yeah, it did a number on me. Like I've been sick before, and I've you know, for those who don't know, like I previously, I've had cancer before. I've had colorectal cancer, stage 2 and stage 3. And right now, I am about 7 years in remission from having cancer, and it's just been a bit of a journey, going through having cancer, and going through the radiation treatments and all the different things that you have to do, also changing up your diet, your lifestyle, and basically shocking your system, and trying to get better, just because really there's no preparation for when that hits you. So when I had that, and coming out of it, I'm at a point where I have immunocompromisation. So, or, I know I didn't say it properly, but basically, my immune system is easily compromised, and I tend to get sick way worse than anyone else, right? Or more than, not worse than anyone else, but worse than most. And so what ends up happening is, something is, small as a cold, or, mild as a flu, or it could be a severe flu, that right there can take me down for a long while, and it's harder for me to recover. Even when I was working in IT, and we had to get the flu shots, I would have the worst reactions to it. And it was funny, not funny, haha, but funny, ironic, because in those instances when I would get the flu shot, I would always get berated by my bosses, just because they're like, you got a flu shot, why do you need to take time off to recover? And it's just because I would get full on just dead ass sick, like, you know it's just what it was. And a lot of people don't understand that, and I had to deal with that. So imagine getting pneumonia. Now, the last time I had pneumonia, for anyone who's been rocking with me, rocking with this channel, this podcast, and just generally things that I do, I last got pneumonia back in, I want to say, 2020, maybe 2019, but I think it's more so 2020. And I got a real bad case of pneumonia, and I was down for about 2.5, almost 3 weeks. And then it took me an additional 2 weeks, so 5 weeks total from getting it to fully recovering. This time around, I, I I got so sick with it that I was in the ER, and it got really bad because my wife ended up having to rush me to the ER, to because I couldn't breathe. My airway completely shut. I couldn't breathe, and it was really bad, because I collapsed in front of my wife and my youngest daughter, and I can. I know that was pretty traumatic for her, and I know my toddler, she's too young to really know what's going on, so she thought I was playing, but it was not a good situation whatsoever. And if I had not have gotten to, my wife hadn't have took me to the emergency room, which she did, rushing me over there, getting me in there, getting me all checked in. You know, um, the doctor said that as bad as it was getting, I probably would have died, eventually, just because my health was just in really bad shape. So they loaded me up on antibiotics. They had to use a steroid inhaler, to help, relieve the pressure and inflammation off my lungs, also to open my airway. And I really had to take off, and I wasn't doing content. And you guys like, oh, why did you keep bringing up content? Well, this is my full-time career, so having to not do content for a while was stressful, and I'm looking at my metrics on YouTube. I'm looking at my metrics on the podcasts that I have. I'm on 4 different podcasts, and looking at that and just seeing, numbers go down and down. Like, I'm not someone like, a Harris Heller or I'm not like a lot of these other people that can make content once a week, once every couple weeks, once a month, and people just gonna come back and rock and vibe with them. No, I mean, I'm a average everyday Joe. I gotta get up and do the work. If I don't work, I don't eat. And so, even right now where I'm not 100%, I'm at least at a point where my voice is back. I can work. I'm able to get around. And, I just like, hey, let me go ahead and get to work. I was talking to my wife. She's like, hey, you good enough to work, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to get back in the driver's seat and get back to doing it. So that's where I'm at right now. And, I just want to give you guys a little bit of background. Y'all don't care about, y'all can skip to the next part because we got things we're going to talk about as far as, the news that's been going on. But yeah, I want to let everyone update everyone. I want to thank everybody who took time to reach out to me. On the because I made a post in the community. I let people know what's going on with me. So, y'all reached out there. I appreciate it. Folks who hit me up on Discord, hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on, Twitter or X as it's called now. And various platforms, texting me as well. I appreciate each and every one of you because it was a really dire situation that uh, really could have went south. And I appreciate you guys, each and every one of you, from family, friends to, people who just enjoy my content and all that, so I really want to say thank you, mahalo to each and every one of you that took the time out of your day to, get the well wishes and to check in on me. I greatly appreciate you guys. So all that out the way, um let's talk tech. Let's talk about the news. The biggest thing I want to talk about, uh, I got technically I'm gonna talk about 3 topics, and I'm gonna go ahead and name them off. The ones I'm gonna be talking about, I'm gonna talk about Ratchet and Clank and the performance disparities that have been going on when you're trying to play it on the ASUS ROG Ally versus playing on the Steam Deck versus playing it on something like the IE Neo devices and AOK, other Windows handheld devices. I also want to talk about the new sorry, see, all right there, I still got that cough. I want to talk about what is going on with Lenovo because they basically have they're working on a gaming handheld called the Legion Go. That's the rumor. This is exclusive that came out of Windows Central. And if you guys have been rocking with the podcast, I told you guys episodes ago, weeks ago, months ago that Acer and Lenovo, as well as Dell, Alienware, these major gaming companies, they're all, even HP, they're going to have their own Omen handheld device. They're going to be getting into the market. The main thing with that was, it's not so much these are Steam Deck competitors. These devices have been, you know, in the works for like they were on the drawing board, then they went through, R&D, production, and then, they're trickling out. But the Steam Deck, we got to give it credit because that is what really made this a viable market for big name companies to really be like, hey, we can actually sell these devices at a profit, and that people are going to buy, and you're going to start seeing more and more of these devices in retail stores. But ASUS was the first one to come after the Steam Deck with a device that for the most part has been successful. And we're gonna dive into that. But the other thing I want to talk about is ASUS ROG Ally selling 500,000 units reportedly. And so, which is interesting because for a device that people say has failed, if it legitimately hit 500,000 units in just under a month and a half on market, that's fucking cool. That's a good sign. But anyways, um, yeah, we're going to go ahead and dive into all that. If you guys are watching this in video format on YouTube, make sure you like, you sub, you share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you're listening to it in audio format or video, because we have video of this podcast, it goes video on Spotify. It's one of our sponsors. Shout out to them for taking care of us. And also, it's available in audio format every major podcasting platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Pandora, all that stuff. It's available everywhere across the spectrum. And we also got merch. So we got DeckedUP shirts, beanies, cups, stickers, all that stuff. Make sure you get some of those. I'll have them linked to the bottom of the video, as well as linked in the description of the video in the podcast format. So, if you get any of that, or you get you pick up any games that I link in the description, all that stuff really goes back and helps out the channel. And like, look, man, I gotta feed my family, so there's that, so every little bit helps. So I appreciate y'all for supporting and rocking with me the way y'all have. All that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about it. Let's talk about Ratchet and Clank, a rift and a rift in time. I can't think of the name of it, but the Ratchet and Clank game that just came out to PC that has had a very interesting launch. Now, I did get a review copy of this game. Shout out to PlayStation for as well as Insomniac Games for providing me a review copy of this game, because I reviewed this a couple years ago when it first launched on the PlayStation 5, when they Insomniac Games did say that, this could only be done on the PlayStation 5 because of the PlayStation 5's SSD. It couldn't be, back then. And look, I'm gonna keep it a buck, and I'm gonna be honest about it. Like, this is something that back then that they said could not be done on PC. It couldn't be done on Xbox. Well, I mean, it's never gonna go to Xbox. This is the PlayStation IP, but it couldn't be done on anything but the PlayStation SSD for PS5. And we have come to realize that, look, let's call a spade a spade. Let's keep this 100. Y'all already know, I'm not one of these guys who's going to just sugarcoat things and be like, hi guys, like Austin Evans. No shade at him or anything like that, but I'm not gonna put on the fake persona. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. We all know these companies bullshit and lie. They bullshit and lie because they have to do and say certain things because whoever's breathing down their neck tells them to say so, you know. So it shouldn't come as a surprise, especially when so many PlayStation games are coming to PC, because PlayStation sees it as a viable market. Why they see it as a viable market? Because the primary thing that Sony has as profitable is PlayStation. You know, that's their primary, you know, money making outlet. I mean, they're not really killing it in the box office. They're not killing it with cameras. They're not killing it with the TVs or, all this other stuff. Primarily, their breadwinner is PlayStation as a brand. So by getting, back at the time when games that were PlayStation, exclusive, or console, home console exclusive, when they were coming out, on the PlayStation 4, yeah, they would turn a big profit on that, mainly because the install base for the PlayStation 5, 4 rather, was so high. But then once PlayStation 5 came out, as y'all know, we're like 3.5 years, well, 3 years, yeah, about 3 years, 3.5 years into this console generation, and it's only now where people are actually able to get their hands easily. You can walk into a Walmart, a Target, you can go into a Sam's Club, a Costco, you can go into, any of these major retail outlets, GameStop included, and you can walk out with a PlayStation 5. It used to not be that way. It's kind of like, putting your hand in a hat and and pulling out a random ticket. Maybe you got one, maybe you didn't. It was very much a lottery. And so because it was that, a lot of folks really were struggling to just get their hands on it, period. I mean, if you weren't like, in many cases, when I got my PlayStation 5, I was not a PlayStation partner at the time. So I had means of getting one. No, I didn't use bots to secure one. I know a lot of people were securing it with bots, but the way I was able to get mine, or two of mine at the time, because I got one for myself, got one for my wife, Lehua, is I had a friend that worked at GameStop, and he let me know that, it was going to happen, and feel how you feel about it, but he was able to put two on the side for me because I was going to come in and get it. You get what you get, how you get it. If you got connections, make sure you take advantage of them, and also take care of the people that take care of you. That's one thing I'm going to say. But I was able to get that, and if I didn't have that type of connection, I don't even know. I don't even know how I would have been able to really do anything. Same thing with the Series X, and that's how I was able to secure mine. But all that being said, these games that were coming out for the PlayStation at the time, they just weren't profitable. You got exclusive games, Demon Souls. You had the Ratchet and Clank game. I think you had like PlayStation Battle also, or some type of game that popped up that died off really quickly. You had a lot of games that were trying to be exclusive that just weren't selling because the install base wasn't there. Of course, we know now they've been selling so many millions of units, and they broke even and broke, it's profitable for them now. But at the time, it wasn't. So when you got games like that, you know, that's why they're porting so many PlayStation 4 games over to the PS5, and then they started putting PS4 games and eventually PS5 games on PC because PlayStation needed to make that money. So bringing that all around to the PC release, and basically, Insomniac Games being caught with their hands, well, not their hands, but their pants below their ass, around their knees. Well, actually, not even down around their knees, is caught really around their ankles. Like, you know, they went to take a piss, their pants fell down, and then someone walked in on the stall and was like, "Surprise, motherfucker!" And there it is, right? You kind of just saw it for what it was. And so, these companies lie. Just understand that. So now we got it. A lot of folks are saying that there's no way this is going to run on the Steam Deck, and we've seen that it runs on all three models of the Steam Deck, varying load times, but it does run on the Steam Deck. And then we saw that there were people that were having issues running the game on the ROG Ally because, yeah, the AMD graphics card was, you had the issues with that. A lot of folks were having issues where when they would launch the game on their Ally, it would either lock up the Ally entirely and you have to manually power it off, which is the experience I had until like the recent update, or you have folks that would get that error and they'd have to go into the settings, and like there's a warning, driver needs to, it's not compatible, right? So you would have to go into your settings and turn it down to 720p at 30 frames per second, and then get out of that first sequence in the game, because that first sequence was the most intensive overall. And so having to deal with that for a lot of folks was stressful, you know. And then yeah, some folks that just didn't have any issues whatsoever. And I know, like, you saw folks like Steam Deck HQ, they were putting, they did a lot of testing. They do a lot of extensive testing. And one of the things that they said is they just, if you're getting Ratchet and Clank, avoid playing this on the ROG Ally. It's the worst platform to play it on. And some folks may feel like this is all the Steam Deck HQ. They're being partial to the Steam Deck and blah blah blah. Maybe there's a bit of truth to that, because here's a level of bias. But the fact is the fact. It ran like hot trash for the longest on the Ally. If you were lucky to get it running, cool, good for you. But for a lot of folks, a lot of us, we just couldn't get it running at all, which is why in many cases it was better to just run it on the Steam Deck. Now, there's a cross parallel to that, because there's another game that came out roughly around the same time. Excuse me, still got that cough. There's another game that came out around the same time, which I haven't had a chance to play it or test it out at all, called Remnant 2. That runs like hot ass on the Steam Deck. It's to the point of being, truthfully speaking, unplayable on deck, but it runs perfectly fine with a couple hitches here and there on the ROG Ally. And a lot of folks, are having issues with that. So really what it comes down to, I know, the kind of the standard now when companies are, and this is more prevalent, we're seeing it now, but companies now, when they're making these PC ports of games, they're really trying to make sure they run on the deck, and I know that a lot of people are like, yeah, well, they're trying to make it run on the deck. I've seen some Reddit threads and people making this accusation or this speculation that they're trying to make these games run on deck and then make them run like trash and everything else. But we all know that when it comes to PC port or PC optimization of these games, these companies are just dropping the ball. They're constantly dropping the ball. They've been dropping the ball on PC optimized games or PC optimization for games for the last, I want to say it's been decades, but if I really want to put a ballpark number on it, I want to say the last 15 to 16 years of PC ports of games and PC games in general have just been hot ass. That's just what it is. It's been awful. And I'm not gonna be here trying to excuse companies for making little hot steaming garbage that they're selling at full retail price and then expecting people to just be okay with it, or even worse, expecting the fans to take care of it and optimize it. We're dealing with issue with, like, we know the software like Lenovo is out there that's just constantly screwing up optimization of PC games, right? We know how that is, but I also understand companies are putting that in there because they're trying to fight hackers in a way. I put quotations around that because I mean, there's nothing that's really uncrackable, right? So it's just a whole thing. I think companies, if you're gonna start bringing your games to PC, or if you're making a multi-platform release and PC is an option there, or you're making a multi-platform, you start off with one platform, eventually put it over to PC. In the case of what PlayStation has been doing, they need to do better optimizations of PC ports. The last couple PC ports PlayStation has put out has been absolute dog shit. I just Ratchet and Clank definitely a little bit better, but compared to The Last of Us Part 1, it's not even it's night and day. At least this came out playable. Last of Us has only now gotten to a point where it's playable and runs decent to an extent, you know. And if we look further back, some of the other games just they weren't well optimized. But we got some ways to go, and I urge each and every one of you, that are PC gamers, continue to hold the feet of these developers, these publishers at the fire, because they need to understand you cannot put out piss poor things and think it's okay. And I know some folks are going to be like, oh, you're being a bit of a hypocrite because you don't hold ASUS accountable for the shit with the ROG Ally. And all I got to say is this, motherfucker, if you really think that, honestly, come here, come a little bit closer. If you really think I don't hold ASUS accountable for anything, you're not listening to this fucking show. You don't watch the videos I put out. So your opinion is invalid. Yeah. That's all I got to say about that. Anyway, let me keep talking to you. So, this whole thing with Ratchet and Clank, the update has made it better. It does, I'm able to get to launch and run on the RG Ally. I'm able to get a good amount of, anywhere from like, it varies for me, running between 40 to 60 hertz. I'm able to, or 40 to 60 frames per second, I'm able to keep it at 1080p. I know if I lowered it to 720p, it would probably be way better. But for me, I'm just like, I got a 1080p screen. I'm not trying to play 720 when I can do 1080. And it's a beautiful screen. So I keep it at that. But at the 720p on the Steam Deck, it still looks great, right? But it looks great on that. But ROG Ally has a better screen. So that's just where I'm at with that. If you're looking to pick it up, cool. I will be doing a review on it, a full featured review, which will be dropping later on this week. And I got a couple other games I'm going to be doing reviews for as well. Check out, be ready for Double Dragon Gaiden. I'm going to be doing a review of that as well. And I think Disney Illusion Island and Atlas Fall. I'm working on that too. So definitely be on the lookout for those reviews. And yeah, and I know a lot of people try to get out the first impressions or first reviews because that's typically when when the embargo lifts. That's when everyone's looking to find out, should I spend money on it? And at a point, I was trying to do that, but when you get to a point, I'm doing content creating. Uh, you start to realize if you're not the biggest name creator out there, then honestly, trying to kill yourself literally by working yourself to the bone and, foregoing sleep and your health so you can get these reviews out, only to realize that unless you're a big name or unless you're able to drop it maybe a minute before everyone else, it's not worth it. So yeah, people got early impressions out, and that's cool, that's good for them, but I want to put out the review when I'm ready to put out reviews for stuff. So if I'm not trying to be first, like I still got to review Street Fighter 6 Exo Primal. Y'all know I've been streaming, or I was streaming before I took my complete sabbatical away from content and social media as a whole. And yeah, you know so my reviews will be coming out when they come out. As far as Ratchet and Clank, Double Dragon Gaiden, and all that, expect that this week. So that's all I gotta say about the Ratchet and Clank. Next thing I want to top it, I want to dive into. I want to dive into this article. This is talking about the Lenovo. We're gonna switch over to the scene over here so y'all can see, and we're gonna talk about it. This is basically saying this is exclusive. This is from Windows Central. Shout out to Jez Corden, who published it several hours ago at the time of me recording this episode. It basically says exclusive Lenovo is working on a Windows PC gaming handheld called the Legion Go. Another Steam Deck Asus ROG Ally competitor enters the fray. And this is kind of a mock-up of what it's supposed to look like. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, this is sexy. It definitely gives me Vita, like PlayStation Vita vibes in a way, with like the rounded edges and whatnot. So it looks pretty sexy. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you got the off the offset sticks, which is standard for Xbox layout, which is what PCs go off of. So it says the unreleased Lenovo Legion Play could give us a hint about how this device looks. So this is Lilliputting. Hopefully I said that name right. But they are basically showcasing what it could potentially look like. I guess we don't really know all the details about it. So all that they have so far is it says, according to our sources, Lenovo is gearing up to enter the handheld PC gaming arena, which I already told you all about months ago that they were going to be doing that. All these companies, because of the Steam Deck and also the Ally, it's very viable. So they're really going to be, you're going to see a lot more competition in this space. So similar to devices like Steam Deck and Asus ROG Ally, Lenovo's Legion Go device will sport AMD Phoenix processors with an 8-inch display. It could look similar to Lenovo's previously leaked Lenovo Legion Play Android device, which never reached general availability. Now, I'm actually not familiar with that Lenovo Legion Play Android device, so I might have to go look that up. I don't really keep up with Android handhelds just because they're few and far between if they do ever come out, and then the ones that have come out, they're quickly forgotten, right? Um, and it's just because a lot of these companies just don't support Android devices for very long. So when I see that, I'm like, I'm not really going to invest time or energy and effort to platforms that just might not be there, for the long haul. But anyways, it says as of right now, there is no indication on timing for official announcements or launch windows. And we'll go down further. It says the handheld PC gaming space is heating up with huge success stories from both Valve's Steam Deck and ASUS's ROG Ally. Other long-time competitors in the space like INEO are also doing well. I mean, they're constantly dropping multitude of devices, so it kind of is what it is, right? Um, and Microsoft itself has tasked Xbox with improving the Windows experience on handhelds for this emerging category because, yo, they're about to start rolling in the dough because Microsoft got that cha-ching money. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But it says now it seems another major player is about to throw its weight into the mix. According to our sources, Lenovo is working on a handheld gaming PC dubbed Legion Go, and it will support Windows 11 for maximum PC gaming compatibility. While details are scant right now, we understand this will support AMD's new Phoenix processors, which the chip firm describes as ultra thin, focused on gaming, AI, and graphics for ultrabooks. The fact the Legion Go will support Ryzen chips pretty much guarantees that this is a Windows PC gaming handheld, as part of Lenovo's popular gaming Legion brand. All right, so let's go ahead and go down. It says, as of writing, there's no information on exactly when this device could become available, or if indeed it'll become available at all. And so this is, I guess, this is what the other device looked like. So it says the Lenovo Legion Play never launched generally, but it could give us an idea of how the Lenovo Legion Go might look. Again, credit to that person who came with in the image. So there's an earlier leak from this person some years ago outed Lenovo's Legion Play effort, which was an Android-based cloud-oriented handheld similar to the Logitech G Cloud or the Razer Edge. This device was never released generally, but the design could give us a hint about the form factor Lenovo will gun for with the Legion Go. Given the fact the Legion Play never launched, there's every possibility the Legion Go may never make it to general availability either. We don't have information on launch windows or even announcement timing yet, but given the success of the Steam Deck and the ASUS ROG Ally, it seems a far safer bet that an Android-based cloud-focused device. Oh, yeah, sorry, I, I misread that. It seems a safer bet than an Android-based cloud focus. Yeah, I think trying to make any type of Android cloud-based device generally isn't the best move you want to make as a company unless you're targeting like the Asian market, In the West, I just don't think it's very viable, but I'm not going to knock it. There are people that use it, especially people who do mobile gaming. That's kind of the best bet, even though for some odd reason, majority of mobile games are better optimized for iPhones. Just for some reason. And y'all think I'm an iPhone fanboy just because y'all see the Apple Watch. Look, I got a Pixel 7 Pro as well. So I'm a dual phone user. All that being said, though, um, let's keep going. It says Xbox Cloud Gaming and NVIDIA GeForce Now are quite good, but simply cannot beat native PC gaming offered by devices like the Steam Deck, which is very true. According to our information, the Legion Go could support an 8-inch screen, making it larger than the ASUS ROG Ally or the Steam Deck, both of which have a 7-inch display. PC, sorry, PC and console games ported to PC are often designed for larger monitors or even TVs, and on smaller screens, user interface elements can be difficult to see, especially if the game doesn't have a UI scaling option. But that's something I could go on a whole tangent about that because I'm dealing with that right now with Atlas Fallen. Um, there's so many games that are coming out that just don't have scaling options, and I don't understand why developers are not putting more of that into games. It is freaking annoying. Please, developers, if you're hearing me right now, if I know a lot of you watch this podcast. Please put UI scaling functionality into more of your games because I swear a lot, if you're playing on a 4K TV and you got to look at this small ass text and you got eyes as bad as mine, which is why I wear glasses, it's a problem. But hey, that's a rant for a different day. But anyways, it says a larger display could give the Legion Go a decent advantage over its competitors if it remains lightweight and balanced, which of course remains to be seen. The AMD Phoenix 7040 series chips are described by the firm as ultra thin for powerful but elegant ultrabook style devices. They should lend themselves well to a device like the Legion Go, supporting 15-watt low power states for lightweight games and maximized battery life similar to the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally. The Z1 Extreme and the ASUS ROG Ally can perform with a TDP below 15 watts, however, which could give the Ally some advantages there, but we simply don't know what type of Phoenix chip Lenovo plans to use. There's every chance the Lenovo Go could have other configurations we're unaware of yet, though we'll just have to wait and see. Lenovo Legion Go versus the competition. So it says where the Legion Go could one up the ASUS ROG Ally is in software. I love my ASUS ROG Ally, but the ASUS software experience isn't the best. No, it's really not. It definitely could be a lot better. Um, the overlays on the ASUS ROG Ally aren't the most responsive. Again, they're not. Navigating through the Armory Crate and the My ASUS app for separate update tracks is confusing. I have gone at extensive length of bitching and moaning and just complaining with us at ASUS for that because it is, and I'm used to it because I've had ASUS laptops and desktops, but it is annoying that you got to go through your Windows update. Then you got to do your updates through the Armory Crate. Then you got to go through the My ASUS app, and one update can fuck up another aspect of your device, and it's just so annoying. But yeah, so there's that. Um, what else did they say? Based on my conversations at Microsoft's Xbox event in LA, Microsoft is also gearing up to offer greater to support. Okay, this is a typo. Gearing up. Okay, look at this. This is a typo. Gearing up to offer greater to support. What they should have, or they meant to say, is gearing up to offer greater support to OEMs exploring this new device category, and likely is already involved with Lenovo's efforts here. Dell's Alienware brand also teased a prototype handheld a couple years ago, dubbed the UFO. If y'all remember that, I'll pull that up later on. It's fair to expect other efforts from Razer and other major PC gaming brands in the coming years. Like I told y'all months ago, episodes ago, this is going to happen. So that's just about the crux of it. I mean, we can dive into this little topic here because this is something for those of y'all who know I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. Final Fantasy 14 was one of the first MMOs that I really sunk a lot of time into, really helped my Twitch channel grow. Although I took a break for the last 2 years from 14, but Final Fantasy 14 is it's coming to Xbox. This is something I've known for years. Um, I've known that even back when I worked for Microsoft, but there was always like things on the table. And for those who don't know, Sony, they tend to spend money to keep things off of platforms other than their own. So, just keep that in mind. But yeah, if it's just anywhere a UFO concept. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So here it is, right? Um, this right here, this is back in 2020. Like this is why like when people are like, oh, the Steam Deck is the first to ever do it, and like I'm like, no, it's not. Like Alienware was they were been wanting to do that. It just never came out. And folks I know in the industry, my industry friends and some of the content creators, the bigger names, actually got to try this hands on. It was something dope. But at the time, I think the tech probably wasn't where it is now. Because just look at the date on this. This is from January 6th of 2020. Yo, they were not ready. The tech was not where it is now. So I expect fully this to come out with updated, probably an updated look and just update everything else. I like the design of this because removal. I know some people people are gonna be like, Joy-Con rip off, blah, blah, blah. And that's probably another thing too, is they got to deal with like probably some type of you know, copyright to deal with that as well. But as opposed to having to buy a whole separate controller, or trying to take another controller and pair it with your device, if you can just remove that and it can still work wirelessly, I think that's great. I think this will really set them apart from everyone else. All right, let's hop on to the last topic of the night. We're going to talk about, and this, I'm pulling this article from Retro Resolve, and this right here, I'm gonna move my camera up so y'all can see. Probably move my camera up over here in this corner and make it a little bit smaller. But anyways, it says the report: ASUS ROG Ally closing in on 500,000 units sold, and roughly 318.6 million in sales generated so far. I'm assuming this is globally. But let's find out more information about this. Let's go through this article right here. So this news was July 13, 2023. And as y'all are probably gonna watch this on August 1st. This is old news, but a lot of folks have been covering this and asking me if I'm going to talk about this. I'm like, yeah, I'll talk about it. So it says a recent released ROG Ally handheld gaming console from ASUS has garnered popularity and generate estimated quarterly sales of up to into about 10 billion. So that's US equivalent 318.6 million. As reported by DigiTimes. Some so rough napkin math. If we round the ASUS ROG Ally price down to around $700 per device price, that roughly works out to around 455,000 units sold. Which, if they have sold that much, and I do believe they have, because this has been one of the devices that just people want, that's incredible, right? So, of course, prices vary from territory to territory, so that take that figure above and with a pinch of salt until the ASUS releases some official numbers. Still, if the 318.6 million euro in revenue is accurate, I believe that's euro. I believe that's what that symbol means. Correct me if I'm wrong. The ROG Ally is off to a solid start indeed. Despite the positive reception to the ROG Ally, person says they love it. The launch has had some problems crop up. They confirmed the fault with the micro SD card reader that the company says is down to overheating problems. As a precautionary measure, ASUS has increased the fan speed of the Ally in a bid to keep the area cool. This has unfortunately resulted in overly loud fan levels of up to about 70 decibels. I still don't hear it, but I don't know. Maybe my hearing's not that great. Something many owners aren't happy about, though you can turn off the CPU performance boost if you want to keep things cool. And yeah, and so that's just about it. Anyways, but yeah, this is the topic that a lot of people have been talking about, making content on, and I definitely if I'm really gonna spitball here, I really think that they've sold probably more than 500,000 units so far. I mean, it got to the point the pre-orders sat up for a long while, and folks were biting at the chomp to get it. And then it got to a point where it was, if you went on Best Buy's website and also ASUS's own website, you couldn't get it for a period of time. It was just completely unavailable, and they have not dropped the non Z1 Extreme unit, which is weird. There's no ETA as far as I know as to when that's going to be coming out. But nonetheless, this device has really done well, for especially for all the folks that keep saying it's a failed device. Um, if we're gonna just go ahead and chalk that up again, like I don't feel like rehashing that whole topic. A lot of y'all got really emotional about that, but um, hey, numbers don't lie. If people are spending money, it's a success. If you want to talk about a failure of a device, looking into the Wii U, 12 million units sold over the course of 4.5, 5 years, that's a failure. If this is sold 500,000 in a month, if not more, as of right now, a month and a half, yo, I don't know what to tell you. That's a success. It's not without its issues, but it's a success nonetheless. So, you know, um, hey, you know, micro SD card issues be damned. And I know there's another device coming out. I want to go ahead and check this out real quick. Some folks asked me about this, and all I gotta say is, um, I'm interested in this. The D-pad on this, what is it called? The Meteorish TJDT 101. The 1080 screen, I would rock with it. I would use it, but I gotta say, it looks like a fucking Fisher Price toy that my daughter uses. When you look at the way the color of the buttons and all that, like, just like, yo, I need some more neutral colors. Or if you're gonna give me the black and the, if you're gonna give me the blue, the all, the powder blue, off blue, and the orange, this white needs to be all black. That way I can really, focus in on these big ass forehead bezels it's got. But other than that, I'm curious as how this is gonna run. I mean, it's supposedly supposed to surpass the Ally in power, but time will tell. We'll see. So that's just about it. That's the episode of Decked Up. We got to cover a bunch of different ground, that talk about a lot of stuff. I got to tell y'all, update y'all on how I'm doing. I'm back. I'm back, baby. Back in, I'm back in the saddle. We back in the sheets doing the thing. So it's good to be back. Thank y'all again for all the well wishes and all the stuff. And I'm just excited to be talking about tech and gaming and all this again. I'm excited being back and doing what I love, and being gone from it has been, I'll be completely honest, like being the last truthfully taken off like a week and a half from content, and not just from content, but taking a week and a half off of fucking social media has been such a blessing. But like any other job, when you take off for too long, you start to not want to come back. And you also start thinking, can you perform at the level and the rate that you were before? And that's something that I kind of was struggling with for a bit. But I needed that break, and I'm grateful to be able to have had that break from it, because I was able to, I'll be honest, I'll be completely transparent. I was struggling with my mental health, like, you know, I had the FOMO, I was dealing with the FOMO, I was dealing with, you know, just struggling with my own self-worth as not only a content creator, not only a YouTuber, a podcaster, and all that, but as a man, as a person, as a father, as a husband, I was just struggling all the way around. It was not at all easy for me, you know, taking away the thing that I love and that I do, and not being able to do it, and having to be as sick as I was, as helpless as I was. It was not easy. And this has nothing to do with, like, I know some folks say, "Oh, it's toxic masculinity." I'm not even going down that route. I was not in a good headspace, And if I if I'm being completely honest, again, being transparent, then what I want to do is I want to thank my wife, Lehua, because, you know, she was sick as well, and she held the family down. She held everything down. And, you know, I don't always tell my wife how much I love her, how much I appreciate her, but, you know, Lehua, if you do watch this, or you probably know the room, you hear me recording this right now, I just want to say, Lehua, I love you. Thank you so much for being uh, that rock in my life, that one constant, you know, being strong, compassionate, You're an amazing mother. You know, I'm getting choked up right here. But you're fun, amazing wife and the absolute absolute best because you've dealt with me at my lowest and at my weakest. You've helped me get through so much, especially when I'm uncertain and I don't appreciate you. No, I'm not saying that I don't appreciate you, but like I don't deserve you. That's what I said. That's what I meant to say. See, so I fucked up on my wording there. I don't deserve you, but I appreciate you and I love you so much, and I'm so grateful for you. You are so amazing. You're my best friend, and if not for you, I would not be doing what I'm doing now, and I if not for you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you so much for being my life partner and my everything. And here's to eternity with you. So all that being said, all that on the side, um, thank y'all for coming through for another episode of Decked Up. Hopefully y'all still rock with me. And if y'all did, y'all watching in video format, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share it around with some other folks, get some people on in. Y'all know we premiere these episodes every time we do them. I try to shoot for a new episode every Monday or Tuesday, and then try to do a midweek episode on Wednesday and an end of the week episode on Friday. I can't always do that because there's not always something to talk about. I don't, I'm not like a lot of other folks that have the opportunity to just sit and just dedicate to one specific thing because y'all know I'm a variety content creator. I got this podcast, I got, the Casanova podcast, I got the one I do with my wife Lehua called Podcast Across Worlds. If you haven't checked that out, we interview voice actors and talk about anime and manga. And then, my boy Cam, my brother Cameron, as y'all know, Car Quicks, we're gonna be doing we're bringing back the podcast that started everything for both of us in this content creator sphere called Tech Etc. And literally it's just two brothers just sitting around talking tech, talking gaming, and coming at it from a different perspective. And if y'all are curious as to what that's like, we got old episodes. Don't worry about the audio, we know it was trash. The bus is coming through saying aloha, this is such and such, whatever bus was coming through at the time at the old place that who and I were living at, because we used to record. We used to have like um we used to record with the Blue Yeti. We had it sitting on a bar stool. This is how far back that goes. And I'll probably throw a picture up of what it used to look like, how we used to record to what it is now. And it's been a hell of a journey. And I love Cameron, that's my brother. And he really inspired me to get into podcasting. He got helped me get into podcasting, and he's been a great blessing on my life. And uh, Cameron, I don't know if you're watching this, brother, but I love you, and I'm grateful for you too. And I'm in this season of gratitude, showing gratitude to people because been a lot of healing and a lot of restoration of relationships that I thought I would never either get to the point where they are now or never have again. And I'm very grateful, you know. Um, yeah, especially when you're at a point where you're at a point where you could have died. I could not be here. So, a lot of things are in perspective. So, yep. Y'all are curious as to what that sounds like, tech, etc. Again, I'll link old episodes, but also the podcast him and I did where we just, chopped it up. That's the format, kind of how we roll. and it's just now more professional. So all that being said, um, like I said, like, share, comment. So if you're watching the YouTube video, it's available video format on Spotify. We're also available on every major podcasting platform that's out. And yeah, you know, catch Decked Up, a gaming and tech podcast across the world on every platform. Thank you. Love each and every one of y'all, even the haters. Hey, my dad, I don't have a great relationship with my father, but one thing he always said that's just stuck with me is that you're not doing nothing right until you got haters. And when you got haters, you need to keep them motherfuckers gainfully employed. Because if they ain't hating on you, you ain't doing a damn thing right. So, you know, hey, thank y'all haters for keeping the lights on, right? I mean, I could turn them off like this, you know. But thank you for the haters for keeping the lights on. So I catch y'all in the next one. Get some merch, pick up some games, get some accessories. Links to everything is gonna be down in the descriptions down below. And then the first pinned comment on the YouTube side of things. But other than that, I'm signing out. Hope y'all have a blessed and aloha and beautiful rest of your day. I catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe. And I see y'all around. Peace.